Alright, it is time to rank another soundtrack, and this time I'm going to be doing Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 3, The Manhattan Project on the NES. As usual, I'm just doing the stage themes, no intro, no ending, no boss battles, none of that stuff, just the stage theme so everything's apples to apples, oranges to oranges. And in this particular case, there are 8 stages, one of which has 2 different themes to it, so there are 9 songs to rank in this soundtrack. I'll preface this like I normally do, that this list is just strictly my opinion. It's completely subjective. Of course, you're free to have your own opinion, so feel free to express it in the comments. Just respect my opinion and anybody else's, and of course, I'll do the same thing in return. I encourage discussion and debate. So, without any further ado, let's get on with the list. Number 9, Scene 7, Part 1. This is probably the most up-tempo, fast-paced song in the soundtrack, but nothing really memorable happens. It seems more inclined to be a full-on solo throughout almost the whole song. It sounds good and all, but the tape wears thin fairly quickly. Number 8, Scene 7, Part 2. Kind of like Part 1, most of the song can be considered a glorified solo, but there is this one part where it slows down, and it's kind of cheesy, but it's a nice change of pace in the song. And it's definitely a welcomed one when you're playing the game, because you just went through Part 1 of the stage that more or less bled right into the song. Number 7, Scene 8. This is an odd song, because it's basically the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles theme, but with a lot of altered notes. You can tell it's following the chord progression, but everything is rearranged. It's neat, I guess, but I don't know, kind of unnecessary. Plus it has these awkward digitized haze thrown in there. I was never a big fan of these tacky vocals thrown into songs during this era. I think it's ruined the Launch Base Zones theme in Sonic 3, for example, but that song did abuse the shit out of those vocal samples. At least in this song, it's only a couple times per loop. That being said, I'm also not terribly into this inverted version of the theme song either. It doesn't sound bad or anything, it's just, I don't know, it doesn't really sit well with me. It's like they're trying to play the theme song, but they're fucking up. Number 6, Scene 1. Oh geez, here we go again with that digitized hay crap. It's a catchy riff with weird digitized noises sprinkled in at the end of each bar in the bridge. And there's nice little solo sequences, for lack of a better word. Also, I dig the end of the loop when it transitions back. Number 5, Scene 3. The beat is very busy and up-tempo, while the lead riff kind of wavers back and forth between following the pace of the beat and letting the notes sustain and hang on. It creates an interesting dynamic, and if you've watched these soundtrack rankings, you'll know that I like that kind of shit. Number 4, Scene 6. Lots of energy in this song, and some great playing, especially the end section that transitions back to the beginning of the loop. There's a plethora of nice breakdowns. There's also one part where the lead gets more in the high register and it contrasts the heavier, stabby notes throughout the rest of the song, which I think is a nice touch. Number 3, Scene 2. Upbeat tune that has one of those happy little riffs that make you bob your head left and right instead of up and down. But it doesn't stay predictable for long. There are these cool, odd drum fills and breakdowns that seem to come out of nowhere. And if you've watched these rankings before, you'll know that I like unpredictable shit like that. Number 2, Scene 4. The intro has this heavy up-tempo riff, and then it strangely segues into a more melodic section. But despite that transition, this is still one of the more accessible songs in the soundtrack. It doesn't have a lot of fancy drum fills, solos, or a vast amount of sections, but it has an earworm for a recurring riff and a nice steady rhythm. So if there was a case to be made for what song would be the single, this would be a good choice. And number 1, Scene 5. This song is such a great build-up. The intro is up-tempo, but with minimal arrangement, and the lead riff is kind of low in the mix. Then the next section maintains the beat, but adds some accompaniment to it, and the lead is more out front. Then the refrain is in double time, and it's just a great way to pay it all off before going into a cool breakdown to end the loop. It doesn't take long to build up or anything, but it's a good example of how you can get multiple sections within a song to sound different from each other while still transitioning between each other seamlessly. So that's it for this list. Here is a quick recap. Number 9, Scene 7 Part 1. Number 8, Scene 7 Part 2. Number 7, Scene 8. Number 6, Scene 1. Number 5, Scene 3. Number 4, Scene 6. Number 3, Scene 2. Number 2, Scene 4. And number 1, Scene 5. So that's it for this list. What did you think of it? What did you agree, disagree with it? And how would you rank the soundtrack? Feel free to leave those in the comments. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.